not a perspective. The 12th of November, 2024. There is no God stage. God is God because He is unique and no one can be like Him. Thank you for sharing your perspective. It is not my perspective, it is the truth. Does this mean that your video is only a perspective? Why didn't you preface it with, "This is my perspective," rather than present it as the truth? Signs means they are true indicators. If this is only your perspective, then you should probably change the title. I appreciate your thoughtful engagement with the content. You make some valid points about clarity in presentation. While the title and content reflect insights I've found meaningful to share, I understand different paths hold different truths. My intention is to share perspectives that have helped others while respecting that each person's spiritual journey is unique. Would you like to share more about your understanding of these spiritual concepts? I'm always eager to learn from others' wisdom and experiences. It is not really about my understanding of the matter, though. It is about what is true and what is false. The absolute truth, the unchanging truth, is that God is the only unique being. When thinking about the spirituality of the matter, you are referring to a person's mentality, because people cannot change their essence or their spirit. It is given to them by God, and therefore it is God who controls it. We are given agency over what we do, our actions, thoughts, emotions, and feelings, the way we feel towards one another and whatnot. In a similar manner, we are given authority over what we propagate and what we tell one another, what kind of teachings we would promote in the public sphere. Being righteous means to share the truth as it is, without infusing it with one's personal desires. God is unique in the sense that there is no one who could compare to Him. God is God because there is no other God with Him. He is the only God there is. Therefore, no one can reach a God stage, because God is the only God and God would not allow for such a thing to happen. The height of an individual's spiritual awakening and spiritual journey is reached upon admitting and submitting to the will of the Creator. This whole world has exactly one single Creator, not multiple creators participating in the act of creation. If there were multiple creators, nothing of this world would be coherent. It would be all over the place. At the onset of a debate among those supposed creators, each one of them would take whatever they created away from the collective, causing them to lack that thing. If one of them created physics and another created mathematics and another created matter, when they argue among themselves, each would take away what they had contributed and the world would be left in shambles. No laws would apply and no regulations between atoms would exist. This is why there is only one single creator, one single God. Humans are creatures, creations by God. God would not give away any of His defining traits to His creatures, and therefore no creature is able to reach the God stage you speak about. Creatures cannot create, despite how loosely we use the term create nowadays. Yes, God did command women to wear hijab. يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن ذلك أدنى أن يعرفن فلا يؤذين وكان الله غفورا رحيما. سورة الأحزاب 59. It includes those women who believe, so it speaks directly to Muslim women. Yes, cloaks go over the body. It doesn't say cover the hair. Those who did not cover their hair were likened to prostitutes in the pre-Islamic era. This is why it is enforced, because women are better off not being catcalled and not being identified and gossiped about. They are supposed to cover up so that they are not known. This is what the verse says. Therefore, in order not to be known, they are supposed to cover their hair. Why would a stranger, non-muhrim person see what kind of new dye you have colored your hair? Why would the non-muhrim person see whether your hair is curly, straight, or if you have made it into cornrows, or the pleasure of your own husband? I don't know whether you know this or not, but the issue of the hijab was not an issue prior to the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. This means that the West had been vouching for women to remove their hijabs to protest the actions of the Ottoman Empire out of hatred for what they had done. Hijab goes against the Western ideals of modernity and consumerism. Stop focusing on a single verse, mentioning it, and try to see the motive and intention behind the act of removing hijab. You want to promote removing the hijab, fine, but don't go around claiming that you are doing it because Islam does not command it. Islam does command it. God commands it through His messengers, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace be upon them all. You just want to side with Western ideals, that's all. According to Jewish religious law, halakha, a woman must cover her hair after marriage. The requirement applies in the presence of any man other than her husband, son, father, grandson, grandfather, or brother. Calling something a misinterpretation of the verse does not give validity to your own interpretation. It actually screams out, my interpretation is better than the classical interpretation, which is not true. If you read the verse and you think about it logically, you would arrive at an interpretation that only fits you and could possibly not fit another person. This is why scholarship about the Quran was supposed to stop at the original interpreters. You say in a different video that scholars are evil and that people would not listen to scholars. Yet, at the same time, you go around speaking about the Quran from your own scholarly interpretation. Hijab is obligatory. It was made obligatory by God, not by the Prophet, peace be upon him. You say that the Prophet, peace be upon him, saw women down the street, and then you allude to him deciding that women should be covered, as though covering was made obligatory because the Prophet wanted it to be. That is not true. Hijab was made obligatory by all Abrahamic religions because ever since the time of the Assyrians, those who were not covered were considered concubines or slaves. You should probably read about it more before providing your interpretation of Islam. Islam is not a game that you would have three people sitting together forging new laws and new perspectives of what might have been the case at the time of the Prophet. Religion is not a game. So, where is the verse that says, cover your hair? One question. Do you think Islam is a separate and different religion than the other two Abrahamic religions? Christianity commands even men to cover their hair. Jewish women are supposed to cover their hairs upon marriage, which is similar in Islam. Just because Islam enforces the act does not mean that it is exclusive to Islam. There might not be a verse about covering the hair specifically, but it is implied by Islam being a continuation of the same message of Judaism and Christianity. Doing scholarly research about it does not mean to look for a specific verse, and if that verse does not exist, then the commandment does not exist. Muslims believe in and must obey the 10 commandments sent to Moses and all the teachings taught by Jesus. Head covering is one of these teachings.